Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Monday edition of our show. I'm your host, Joe Grado. I want to thank you for kicking off your week with us as we discuss everything athletics. Today is Monday, June 23rd, and the A's are out in Detroit, set to begin a road trip in a 3-game set against the MLB's best Detroit Tigers. At the back half of today's show, we'll be sure to preview that series. But before then, we will kick off after the opening music. We will be sure to discuss what went down over the weekend as the A's welcomed in the Cleveland Guardians to West Sacramento for a 3-game set. So a lot of baseball talk on today's show, and we're excited to kick off your week talking all about it. So after the opening music, let's get to it, and let's go A's.
Soundstripe.
Again, for kicking off your week with us here at A's Day. We're thankful for each and every one of you. I just want to give you a quick reminder of where you can find us aside from each of our podcast shows. Be sure to follow along with us on our social media platforms on Instagram at A's Day Podcast, at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, our YouTube channel at A's Day Podcast, and be sure to be an official subscriber on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. All right, and without further ado, let's get right to the recap of the series over the weekend as the A's welcomed in the Cleveland Guardians for 3, as the Guardians would send Tanner Bybee, their ace, to the mound, going up against Jeffrey Springs. A's would get the scoring started in this one, as Nick Kurtz continues his hot hitting, smashing a 2-run home run in the bottom of that first. It's his 10th on the year and his 4th of the week. And he may not end up being AL Player of the Week, but he should at least be AL Rookie of the Week, in my opinion. A's are up 2-0 early. In the second, the A's would extend their lead to 3-0 via a Lawrence Butler RBI single, bringing home Soderstrom. The score would remain that 3-0 until the 7th. Springs was absolutely brilliant in this one. Still scoreless. Hasn't given up anything through 7. In the bottom half of that 7th, Jacob Wilson would rip an RBI single to left field, bringing home Denzel Clark. It's 4-0 A's. Cleveland would finally get on the board against Springs in the 8th via an Angel Martinez solo home run. It's now 4-1. And that would be all for Springs, who had a fantastic night. He lasted 7 1/3 innings, 3 hits allowed, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 Ks. In the bottom of the 8th, the A's would add 1 more for good measure on a Luis Urias RBI single. It's 5-1. It would go Springs to Kelly to Miller. Ball game over. A's win game 1 of the series, 5-1. So Nick Kurtz, he's really ascending from top prospect to a bona fide major league stud. Another home run, his 4th home run of the week, gives them the early boost with the 2-run home run, the 2-0 lead, and Jeffrey Springs just went to work from there. He was absolutely dominant. Went into the 8th inning until he got allowed 1 blemish on his line, but set the tone for his team. They had no doubts about this one, that they were going to leave this game with a victory. Much better with runners in scoring position in this one. They went 3 for 7. The vibes are just so much better in the dugout and in that clubhouse. And let's see if that would go ahead and carry on over into game 2, as this would feature a pitching matchup of Luis Ortiz going up against Mitch Spence on this edition of Spence Saturday. A's going for the series win at home, but the Guardians would go ahead and set the tone early in this one. This time, they get the scoring started as they put up a 4 spot in the top of the second against Mitch Spence. Bo Naylor, He ripped a double, and Nolan Jones would come around scoring on an A's error. Jonathan Rodriguez would follow with an RBI double. Steven Kwan, an RBI single, and Jose Ramirez would rip an RBI single as well. After the second, it's 4-0 Cleveland. A's unfortunately didn't have an answer against Luis Ortiz in this one. He was absolutely spectacular. He went 6 innings in this one, only allowed 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and he registered 10 strikeouts. A's finally get on the board in the 7th via an opposite field double by Austin Wynns. It's now 4-1. A's try to continue to chip away, adding another in the 8th via a Max Muncy sacrifice fly. Chipping away. It's now 4-2. On to the 9th, it would remain 4-2, and the Guardians would summon their closer, Emmanuel Clase. He comes on to retire J.J. Bleday, Luis Urias, and Austin Wynns. That's the ball game. Cleveland wins this one 4-2, and evens the series of 1 apiece. So Mitch Spence wasn't great in this one, but he had just the one bad inning, and I mean that was the difference in this one, unfortunately. And it is tough to kind of set that tone early, and I know 4 runs isn't the end of the world, but I do believe in momentum and just kind of that feeling that's set and that tone that's set for the game. And unfortunately, the A's couldn't get the bats going in this one, but hats off and shout out to Luis Ortiz. He really had the lineup up at bay, the A's lineups at bay. He only allowed 2 hits and the 2 walks, so not much opportunity there, and sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Sometimes the pitcher is going to have their day, and they're going to get their due, and it was his for certain. So certainly not the way you were hoping this one would go. You'd hope you keep the good feelings going, but nevertheless, just one of those tough ball games. Spence, he went 4 2/3 innings, 8 hits allowed, 4 runs. So like I said, definitely not his finest performance, but definitely kept him in the game to give them every opportunity for the A's offense to swing their way back into this one. And the bullpen, they really bridged the gap in this one and really gave them a chance to win this ball game and come from behind. They went 4 2/3 innings, 8 hits allowed, they went 4 1/3 innings, only the 2 hits allowed, no runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. So just want to give a shout out there to the fine job that TJ McFarland, Sean Newcomb, and Hogan Harris. They really showed up to the office and gave their team every opportunity to come back and claw back in this one. But offense only 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Offense was really shut down in this one. Just got to scrap this one. It was a hard-fought game. It was a quality ball game. I just think the Guardians just pitched that much better, just a little bit better, and that was the difference in the game. Nothing to hang your hat on, but to show up to the ballpark for the rubber match for Game 3 and still have the opportunity to win a series at home. As Slade Ciccone would take the mound for the Guardians, and he would be paired up against J.P. Sears, looking to get back on track. Cleveland gets the scoring going again in this one. In the second, RBI single by Gabriel Arias and an RBI double by Nolan Jones. It's 2-0 Cleveland early. In the 5th, Cleveland would add another via an RBI single by David Fry, who hammers left-handed pitching. It's 3-0. Sears would go on and finish his day in the 5th, and that would complete his day, lasting 5 innings, allowing 3 earned runs. A's offense had plenty of opportunities in this one, but couldn't come through with the big hit. 10 men left on base, and again, 2 for 8 runners in scoring position. That's not going to get it done. Credit to Ciccone, however, who was very good in this one. He lasted 7 innings, 6 hits allowed, no runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Clase would come on again in the 9th. A's had a little bit more success against them this time, as they would load the bases with 1 out to start a potential rally, but that would be stopped almost immediately after, dead in their tracks, as Muncy would strike out and Butler would ground out. Ball game over. Guardians win this one 3-0 and take 2 out of 3 from the A's in Sacramento. So I thought J.P. Sears in this one, he bounced back, gave the team an opportunity to win this game. Not his finest performance, but I think better than what it's been. I think he did a little bit better of a job of getting ahead of more hitters. I do think that is still an area that he needs to continue to get back to, continuing to improve on that command. When he's going well, he gets into a groove and really pitch sequences a lot better. So do think he's getting back on track, taking the right steps, but he's a work in progress. I do think, again, Cleveland kind of set the tone early, getting that 2-run spot early, and then their pitching went to work. And Ciccone, he had a really good outing, going 7 innings, shutting down an A's offense once again that was top 10 in average. So certainly no easy task, and especially in West Sacramento where the ball seems to really carry differently than other places, but A's couldn't muster much, and shout out to the Cleveland pitching. Only, pitching a shutout on Sunday, only the 2 runs allowed on Saturday. They did allow 5 in the losing effort on Friday, but again, that gives their offense every opportunity to climb back into a game too as well. It's not insurmountable. So they are now 32-48 on the year, 14 games out of first. But nevertheless, hopefully, there's still plenty of time where they can inch their way back at the minimum into the wild card race. As tough as that losing stretch where they lost 20-21 at one point, there is the other side of the coin where they could get it going in a more positive direction. But don't know if that'll happen this week, as they've got Detroit and then the Yankees. So that's going to be a tough week and really test the fortitude of this team. And let's see how they come out of it by our Monday show. But before we continue along and preview the Detroit Tigers series that is set to begin at 3:40 p.m. Pacific time, because they're going to be in a different time zone, we want to thank our partner Visit Mesa for all they were able to do for us during our content trip this past February. And we just want to make sure we're continuously shouting them out because we appreciate them so much. And then we'll get back to the back half of today's show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome to Mesa, Arizona, a destination for every season. Experience a destination where adventure, culture, and culinary experiences are limitless. As the gateway to the stunning Sonoran Desert and Tonto National Forest, Mesa invites you to explore its scenic waterways, kayak through winding canyons, or paddleboard along the Salt River. For a one-of-a-kind desert adventure, ride the waves at Revel Surf at Cannon Beach, the country's first surf park of its kind. Downtown Mesa is a vibrant hub, home to the Mesa Arts Center, public art, award-winning breweries, and local shops. Food lovers can explore the fresh foodie trail and the diverse flavors of Mesa's Asian district. Sports fans can experience MLB spring training with the Chicago Cubs and athletics, or visit one of North America's largest youth sports complexes. As the world's first autism-certified city, Mesa is dedicated to accessibility and inclusivity for all visitors. So be sure to check out Mesa for your next trip, or maybe next year for some spring training. You'll be glad you did. All right, let's get back to the back half of today's show and talk about what to expect with the Detroit Tigers, as the A's are in the Motor City with first pitch scheduled for 3:40 p.m. Pacific time. On the year, the Tigers are 49-30, which is first in the AL Central. I believe they are 8.5 games up on the Cleveland Guardians at the time of recording. They're led by manager A.J. Hinch, and in their last series, they lost 2 of 3 at Tampa. They lost Game 1 14-8, lost Game 2 8-3 before winning the rubber match 9-3. Let's talk about how this Tigers team has been performing offensively and on the mound. So, batting average, they're hitting .252 as a team, which is 10th in baseball. They've slugged 96 home runs, which is 10th in baseball, and they've scored 391 runs, which is 5th. So it looks like they do have some pop, but they've also found other versatile ways to score runs. So that is one way to view this as a pretty complete offense, and the performance shows as they're 19 games over 500. On the mound, they've really excelled here. They are pitching to a 3.50 ERA, which is 6th in baseball. They've registered 667 strikeouts, which is 9th, and they've allowed 228 walks, which is the sixth least in all of baseball. So they're doing it on both sides, and that's why they have the best record in baseball as of today's recording. Let's talk about the pitching matchups and when to expect those start times, since it is going to be a little funky this week, as the A's are going to be in the Central Time Zone for the next 3, and then in the back half, they're going to be on the East Coast. So we'll be sure to make sure that you have all of the proper Pacific Time start times so you know when you can enjoy your A's games. So tonight, Game 1, Luis Severino will be going up against Tarik Skubal, last year's Cy Young Award winner. That game is set for 3:40 p.m., so I highly recommend tuning into that game if you are able to. That should be a pretty solid pitching performance as Skubal, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, and Sevy, who has been the best road pitcher in baseball, only allowing 4 runs in 36-plus innings. Game 2, Jacob Lopez is going up against to be determined. As of the time of recording, we don't know who is going up for the Tigers. I'm sure that will be announced either towards the back end of Game 1 or the morning leading up to Game 2. That game is also scheduled for 3:40 p.m. Pacific time. Then the rubber match, Game 3, Jeffrey Springs is going up against Jack Flaherty. That's going to be an early one out here for us, a 10 a.m. start time. Some hitters to watch for. Got 4 for you. They've been hitting it pretty well as a club. They are led by Riley Green, their left fielder. He's hitting .291 a year with 17 home runs, 59 runs batted in, and .875 OPS. Spencer Torkelson, he's hitting .223 with 16 home runs, 49 runs batted in, and an .800 OPS. Kerry Carpenter, he's hitting 246 on the year with 13 home runs, 27 RBIs, and 729 OPS. And finally, second baseman Gleyber Torres, he's hitting 278 on the year with 7 home runs, 38 RBIs, and an 804 OPS. So just some hitters to keep an eye on as you're following along this 3-game set. So let's get to know the 2 probable starters that we do know on the Tigers side. So first, Tarik Skubal, left-handed pitcher. This is going to be a really tough matchup for the A's lineup, in my opinion. I mean, he was the 2024 AL Cy Young Award winner, and he's really building off that one in a positive way, in a big way. In 2025, he has an 8-2 win-loss record with a 2.06 ERA. Yep, you heard correctly. In 96 innings pitched, he's only allowed the 70 hits, racked up 117 strikeouts, and he's only issued 12 walks and a .85 whip. That is absolute dominance, and he's nasty. And his last start actually was probably one of his quote-unquote worst ones. It was still a good one. He lasted 5 2/3 innings in a winning effort against the Pirates, 6 hits allowed, 2 runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. I do think this is going to be the toughest customer that the A's offense is going to face this year. So really exciting to see how they fare against him. I think it'll be a tough night, but maybe this team will be up for the task. He works with a 5-pitch mix, a changeup, sinker, fastball, slider, curveball. His fastball averages 97.5 miles an hour, which is 93rd in the 93rd percentile in all baseball, according to Baseball Savant. Speaking of Baseball Savant, his page is bleeding red, and that is a very good thing for a pitcher. Expected ERA 2.49, which is in the 94th percentile. His fastball velo averages 97.5, like I mentioned, 93rd percentile. We've seen him end a game on 103, so much more than that in the tank. His average exit velo allowed is 85.8, which is the 96th percentile. Chase percentage 34.4, which is 94th. Whiff percentage of 33.2. 93rd, K percentage 32.1, 93rd, walk percentage 3.3, that's low, 98th percentile, and hard hit percentage 32.2, 92nd percentile. So that is the elite of the elite. His fastball is an elite weapon, and it seems to get stronger as the game goes on. His command has been elite as well. The 117 strikeouts against 12 walks is absolutely unheard of and absolutely dominant. He has seen an increase in changeups just to keep people off of that fastball, which has made that even more of a weapon. More confidence with command. This is going to be an absolute battle. And as for the Game 3 starter, A's will be up against Jack Flaherty. On the year, he's had a little bit of a couple hiccups, which has inflated his ERA. He is pitching to a 5-8 win-loss record of 4.83. 78 in the third innings pitched, 93 strikeouts, 31 walks, a 1.21 whip. In his last start, he took the loss in a 14-8 decision at Tampa. He only lasted 2 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 8 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. He also works with a 5-pitch mix, but a little different. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, sinker. His fastball registers a little lower at 92.6 on average on the year thus far. He generates quality strikeouts and finishing touches on ABs, working in pitch sequencing with his secondary stuff and allowing his fastball with the higher spin rate to look even firmer than it is. His changeup is well regarded as a solid secondary pitch, and his curveball he works to increase in usage with further development in depth. You've seen that on full scale in 2025 thus far during his resurgence. He has been durable around a couple of tough injury-riddled years with the Cardinals, but nevertheless, around those, he's shown to be pretty durable. He has had a couple tough decisions in his last 2. He's kind of been a little bit of a slump. Look to see if maybe he can bounce back on his home mound. But 2 tough starts with Tampa and Cincinnati, which has greatly inflated his ERA, because I do think he's pitched better than what his 4.83 has suggested. I do think there'll be many more opportunities for the A's to get some runs scored and have more quality outcomes than Game 1. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I do think it might be difficult for them to get much off of Skubal. So this should be an interesting series. Very curious to see how the A's hold up against the AL's and the MLB's best, and just kind of see what their fight is and what their barometer level is at this point of the season. This is going to be a very tough week, and this can really break or make This could either break the spirit of this team, or like if they just go out and get swept by the Tigers and Yankees, that could be quite demoralizing, as they seem to be coming out on the other end of a tough stretch of baseball where they're playing much better baseball and the vibes are much better. Or they can go up and get a couple here and there, maybe win a series, who knows. Really, that could be the beginning. We look back of a turnaround into a better second half of the season. So we'll really see. We had mentioned this week a while back that this was going to be a really tough stretch of baseball, so let's see what this young green and gold are made of. Really curious to see how they go up against the AL Cy Young Award winner tonight. All right, before we get on out of here, we're going to make our predictions. We are going to predict that Brent Rooker is going to hit a home run in the series. Just kind of have that feeling. Not really going off of any data here. Just feel like he's been swinging it better and better, and I just think he's due. And I do think in one of these games he's going to go yard at least once. Serious prediction. We're going to be, kind of went back and forth. Thought this could be a really tough series, but I do think they'll have an opportunity. I do think they'll get game 2 or 3. I don't think they'll get tonight. I think they'll lose a tough one, 3-1 tonight, and I think they're going to lose 2 out of 3. But I do think they'll hang in there. I think, like I said, I think they'll lose to Skubal 3-1. I think they'll bounce back and win whoever the game 2 starter is. I think the A's will bounce back like they have grown so accustomed to doing. They'll win 8-4 before losing a tight one in the rubber match against Flaherty 6-5. So that's a wrap. We didn't want to take up too much of your time. Not much to cover as some other shows, because in the recap it was a little bit shorter just because there was such good pitching performances. Wasn't as many highlights to recap and go over. So wanted to keep it clean, tight, and tidy. Make sure you have an opportunity to listen to our newest edition of our show before first pitch. By the time this is uploaded, it'll probably be about 45 minutes before first pitch, so you'll definitely have plenty of time to be able to listen if you're getting all caught up, what happened against the Guardians, and then what to expect against their next opponent, the Detroit Tigers. And that is a wrap. That is all for today's show. We discussed what went down over the weekend as the A's dropped 2 of 3 against the Guardians in a tough, tight, hard-fought series. They just didn't come out on the other side in a victorious note, aside from the Game 1 performance. And then we previewed what to expect against the AL's best and the MLB's best in the Detroit Tigers, who come into this one 19 games over 500, and with their AL Cy Young Award winner in 2024 kicking off this series with a 3:40 p.m. Pacific time start time for first pitch. On our show on Friday, we will recap what went down against the Tigers before previewing what to expect against the Yankees. And we are going to have an announcement about a July content trip and some parameters around that. Very exciting to getting some exclusive content for you, the lovely audience, to be able to enjoy. So you'll definitely not want to miss that, because it's going to involve Sacramento. It might involve some A's. You'll have to stay tuned to hear the details. That's right. Wanted to give a little sneak peek so that you'll tune in Friday and know the entertaining content and some ways that you might be able to participate too as well. So stay tuned for all of that. That's enough for today's show. I appreciate each and every one of you starting your week with us, spending moments of your day listening to our thoughts on A's baseball. We're hopeful. We're staying positive here. We know they've had some tough stretches here, but this young core is developing, and we do believe that some good baseball could still lie ahead in this team. Love the fight in this team, and I do think this is going to be a real test week to see the fight in this team, because they are going to be tested with the game's best, and looking forward to seeing how the A's respond to those challenges. So that's all. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grotto. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love each and every one of you here at A's Day, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday's show. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Holy Toledo. Let's go A's.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe. Soundstripe.